I'm Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I'm a doctor of psychology. I'm a marriage, family, and child therapist. I'm a life coach. I have a private practice in downtown LA. But I also travel to my clients as well, and I offer telephonic life coaching as well as Skype and FaceTime life coaching. So I designed my practice so that my job is to be of service of you. So I make sure that however I can get to you, to heal you, to help you, to assist you in creating your blueprint to success, to life, to healing, then that's how we have to do it. Whether I'm coming to you, we're on Skype, we're on FaceTime, or we're in my office, we're gonna make it happen. I'm president of the NAACP, and I have my own nonprofit that I'm founder of called Advancing Communities. In addition to that, I wrote a book called Mental Detox in 2014. Well, I wrote the book, and similar to Ari, I had writer's block at the beginning. But prior to writing my book, I went out to Cheyenne Bryant, which is a mentor of mine, Oprah Winfrey. I did workshops with them, and I worked side by them. And I remember going to Cheyenne Bryant's very first workshop. It was 7 days. And when I got there, I cried from day 1 until day 5, until I got home, and I had a headache because I had been crying more than I've ever cried in my life. I was just so drained. I slept for about 3 days, and I had this excruciating headache. Yeah, it was really intense. But that was my healing journey. And so I say that to say, once I got back and I got this healing and I got this what I call God's peace and God's grace within myself, and I was in alignment, which is then harmony, right? I never believed or thought or phantom that I can be in a space that was so peaceful, that was my space that I held, and I didn't need anyone else to be in that space or anything else external or tangible items to be in that space to bring me this peace. I thought, the world needs this peace. They need to know how to do it. They need to understand it. So I wrote Mental Detox. I asked God 2 things. Give me the words to write that people can read, and make sure that when they read it, they receive what they need out of it, not what I want them to hear, or not what I want them to have. So I wrote, published my book, and released it in 30 days. My book became #1 on Google, reader's favorite 5-star in the whole world within its first 6 months. I didn't expect that. So then, like, all right, once it became so big, I mean, I was getting booked in China, in Dubai, in Japan. I mean, there was a time where my parents who are here were like, oh my God, like, where are you going now? Where are you going now? I don't even speak their language. They had interpreters in, right? And so I would just pretty much be speaking on this mental detox. And so from that, obviously became, events and different things. And so for me, I just want to make sure that everyone I come in contact with, I'm able to plant positive seeds. I'm able to do what, the Bible says for us to do, be fruitful and multiply. That doesn't mean be fruitful in having kids and baby mamas and baby daddies. I just have to say that. That means, sorry, that was a self-projection on my behalf. But that means be fruitful and multiply in what you have to offer. That means you need to be authentic within who you are. Why? Because God made you exactly, you're a thumbprint of God. Okay? And so who you are, the size you are, the way you speak, if you have a list, if you speak too fast or too slow or articulate or unarticulate, whatever you do is perfect for your purpose and your calling. For those who don't understand what their purpose is, it's because you are not standing in your authentic self. Because as soon as you become who you are, then your purpose finds you. Because we're doing it wrong. We're not looking for our purpose. Stop seeking your purpose. Your purpose is there when you become who you are. When you stand in your power, then your purpose stands in it with you because it's already there. So get out of your own way. It's all waiting for you to show up. That's what it is. And so in a nutshell, that's what I do. I have workshops that I do now. The Dr. Bryant Success Workshops. And what it is what is success to you? So we figure out what success means to you in these workshops. And then once we figure out what success means to you, what does it take to get there? Then we do a meditational healing in the middle of the workshop. Your new self, which is what you create at my workshop, talks to your old self, which is who walked through that door of that workshop. And it says, hey, nice to meet you. This is who I am. I'm not asking for your validation, nor am I asking for your approval. I'm letting you know this is the new me, and I'm just want to make sure that I lock hands with you so that we don't have a problem in my new me reaching my new success. So you do this, pretty much celebration of detachment from your old self so that you can go ahead and be your new self. Because oftentimes the becoming of the newness of us is usually held hostage by the oldness of us. And in order to do new things, you got to become a new being, because new things require a new you. Self is my workshop. Self is your life coach, even if she or he is not me. Self is a therapist if it's not me. Self is not just a massage. That is helping your carnal space. That's the physical body. You need to be able to get in contact with the internal self, because once the internal is in alignment, baby, it don't matter what size you are physically, it don't matter how many massages you get, everything lines up. And then you understand the saying that favor is fair. Yes. And that's what it boils down to. So, when you're living in the past, you experience depression. When you live in the future, you experience anxiety. The only time that you experience harmony and you receive the gift is when? Present. So a good coping mechanism for you would be, okay, I'm feeling anxiety. I'm anxious for the future, but it's not here. So my anxiety is purposeless because we don't know what the future holds. I feel depressed and down, then I must be living in the past. I'm feeling guilty about something. Well, that has already happened. So I can do one of two things. I can either live in the past and be the victim, and life will continue to victimize you, or I roll my sleeves up and say it happened, I got things to do, people to see, and places to go, and you become the victor. And that's how you get the victory. And then another thing I want to touch on is fear. Les Brown says it best, and I stole it from him. So you feel the fear, and you do it anyways. Let me tell you why. Dr. Bryant says in her book, Mental Detox, that crucify your fear and every door will open. You don't believe me? Try it for 30 days. And then send me a DM on my Instagram or get my car to email me and give me the list of things that has favored in your life. That's what it's about. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyways. You have to feel things. Don't suppress or control your emotions, because suppressing and controlling your emotions, you're not allowing yourself to feel. You don't want to dehumanize yourself to where you don't feel, right? You want to be a feeler. But when you feel your emotions, then you should have the opportunity and take it to manage. See, life is all about management. That's all it is. It's all about management. I feel hurt. I feel broken. Got it. Acknowledge your feelings. How do I choose to manage this brokenness? What do I choose to do with this brokenness? Am I going to be the victim, or am I going to be the victor? It's all up to you. It's called free will. The woman who says she can, the woman who says she can't, they're both always right. So you make the choice to do so. Another thing is about purpose. You know, we got to start executing a lot more in our life. It's great to meditate. It's great to pray. It's great to have a vision. Good for you. Okay? You're 50% there. Now start building. Because let me tell you something. God told Noah, build the ark, and then he blessed it. God did build the ark and bless it. So God blesses what you build. And your building is showing God the investment that you are willing to make in the partnership with him. This is a partnership. This is not an individualistic thing. This is a partnership. If she's my partner in a business, and all I do is sign papers and deposit checks all day, there's a matter of time before she checks out, and she seeks a new partner. So now this is my fault. I've gotten in my own way. So your partnership with God, build the ark, and God will bless it. He does the blessing, we do the building. That's what it's about. Listen, there is no such thing but one thing when it comes to success and making it to anywhere. It's called hard work. You put in the work with life will work for you. There's no way around it. There's no elevator to success. You don't get in the elevator and you press PH, you're at the penthouse. That's a lie. That only happens in downtown LA when you're going to the penthouse level. And even then, usually, you gotta stop at different floors before you get there. But with success, you go from level 1 or floor 1 to floor 10. And you're like, I got this, and then you go back down to floor 3, and then you're confused. Yeah, and then you go back. Then you're at the penthouse level talking about I made it. Then now you're back at floor 2, saying, am I just some raggedy tattoo artist? And then you're back to the penthouse. But what you have to understand is that it's a journey. The only thing required of you is to put your track shoes on, get on the blocks, and you hit it. That's all you need to do. The rest of it, God will figure out. So as long as you have the execution, as long as you have the faith, because you're convicted by your belief and faith are married. So as long as you believe that you can do it, you're convicted by that belief. And this is what's so amazing about belief. If I believe that I am this queen, and I'm successful, and I'm this motivational speaker, these are my beliefs. As long as I believe that, I'm convicted by that. She doesn't have to believe in my belief. Right. This is my belief that I'm manifesting. So Another thing is, who is your circle of wealth? What are you rooted in? What are you rooted in? Who is your circle of wealth? Besides God, because he's the vine, we're the branch, so God's the power, we're the plug. We plug into him, he's the source. But who's your circle of wealth? Who are you plugging into on a daily? What seeds am I allowing her to plant in me when we have conversations? Let me tell you something I say in mental detox. Your life is a garden. I use the garden metaphor. It's a garden. Okay? This is your garden. You plant the lilies. You plant the flowers. You plant the trees that you want to grow in that thing, and you water it. You don't let anybody come in your garden and plant weeds and bring rodents, and then they get to leave and leave their stuff in your garden. Guess who has to plow that out? Guess who has to replant? Guess who has to get new soil? So again, you got to make sure you put up your boundary gates and you let those who you invite over into your garden. And then you make sure you checkmate at the door to make sure that the plants and the seeds that they're bringing in are seeds you want to cultivate in your garden. Because usually people come in and plant seeds, good or bad, and they're never there to help you plow out. But they done left their stuff and their residue all in your garden.
You got this, right?
Right, you got this, right?
You got this, right?
Because people do what you allow them to do. Even if they don't mean harm, they're still going to do what you allow them to do. So you have to make sure that you got a circle of wealth. Another thing I talk about is called self-equity. This is a Dr. Bryant tip. Self-equity. Does anyone know what that means? Self-equity is this. What do I have to offer? What do I have to bring to the table? Not what is on the table for me to take. What is on the table for me to have? Let me tell you why. Nobody wants to do business or have a relationship with somebody who doesn't have equity in themselves. You have nothing to offer me. I have nothing to offer you. We are not being productive. So what happens when things are not producing is called pruning. God will prune that thing. That's where the pain comes in. Anything you cut off creates pain. But anything that's not producing, God will get rid of. God, Buddha, universe, whatever you believe in, it's just a higher being, okay?
Yes.
Anything that doesn't produce, because we are here to produce, to be productive, God will prune. So again, if your circle of wealth, relationship, marriage, baby daddy, baby mama, whatever you got going on, if it's not producing, then it will be pruned. And so you have to look at that. And a lot of the ways that you can speed up your success process is to take inventory of self, circle of wealth, what's producing and what's not. And then do your own pruning. Do your own pruning. We only can give what we have, and we really only can receive within our capacity, right, of self. And so it's really important that you have a really solid relationship with yourself. Because law of attraction says you attract who you are despite of who you think you are. So, Cherish probably knows this. Halloween only comes around once a year. So for those of y'all who wear your mask and your costume, if you celebrate Halloween, that should be the only day of the year that you wear it. Once you take that off on November 1st, after October 31st, you should be back to your authentic self. And so it goes back to self-love. Self-love is not a physical attribute. Self-love is loving who you are. Because once you are who you are, you attract that same type of energy. And for example, for myself, this is just truth. I don't receive, at this point, I don't really receive negative comments on my Instagram, on my social media. I don't get negative DMs. I don't get people who are saying, you know, who do you think you are, you know, talking like this? Are you quack? Are you fake doctor? I do not receive those type of messages. Now, it could be one or two things. Either they really don't come based on law of attraction, or I say this often, a lot of times we don't need a new situation, we need a new perception. So maybe my perception isn't open to receiving certain negativity, so I may have created and made myself a repellent to certain things. So when someone is attempting to be rude in their intent, maybe I'm receiving it as a compliment. And this is my thing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. And my thing is this, it's not the circumstance, right? It's not the circumstance. It's not what someone says that affects us. It's how we perceive what they say and what we're going through that affects us. You receive what you perceive. So it goes back to who? Self. So if you can build this relationship with yourself, that's not arrogance, but confidence. I went over that as well. Arrogance is an arrogance you. Confidence is humility at its peak. Confidence is I am so confident that I use myself as a tool and everyone else sees everything about me as a tool. Arrogance is look at me, I'm better than you, I'm here to compete with everyone, and I'm here to blow everybody out of the race. I want to lock hands, not horns with people, because I want to make sure that I have a relationship and I'm creating wealth with others. I don't want to get to a point in my life where I'm bankrupt because I don't know how to have relationships. I'm bankrupt because I've been going on my own, because this is the truth. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go as a team. My team is here. Everywhere I go with the team. At one point, Dr. Bryant brand first started, I was by myself. Then I plateaued because I knew everything. I did everything better than everybody back then. You know, I can get it done faster. They didn't understand how I wanted it done. I would micromanage everyone who worked for me. Seriously, because there was a Dr. Bryant way of doing it. And that's the way it needed to be done. It was my brand, I get it, I understand it. Then I came up with this concept called the GWC. If you get me in my brand, you want to work with me in my brand, and have the capacity to deal with me in my brand, I don't have to micromanage you. Because that means that we are like-minded. That's called a mastermind. And if I hire you, or you're working with me, that's only because I have already pre-qualified you that I trust you. So then if you are in my circle of wealth, because even the people who work for me have to be in my circle of wealth, then I trust you. So again, it goes back to self. You have to make sure that you have a relationship with yourself. You have a plug-in. My plug-in is I wake up, I meditate 20 minutes. I do what she said. I watch a Bishop Jakes, a Tony Robertson, some type of motivational video for 15, 20 minutes before I do anything, before I return an email, before I cash a check, before I do anything, okay? After my meditation aligns me, my videos then give me the word, because the power is in the word. This is just me, I'm not self-projecting. The power is in the word, okay? After I get my word, I get my alignment, I get my motivation, then I'm ready to go. So for me, I'm so strong within myself that social media or anyone in this room, because I have confidence, not arrogance. See, arrogance is insecurity at its peak. Confidence is not, okay? I don't have open cracks and crevices that you can come in and tell me things, and I am that easily influenced to believe that I look fat, or I look ugly, or I need more, or I need less, or that my speaking isn't appealing to you. I'm okay if it's not appealing to you. Everyone has their audience. God, I only want what's mine. If it's my audience, line them up. If it's not, give it to Ari. If we share the same audience, we're taking together. But if it's not mine, I don't want it anyways. Because let me tell you why. If it's not mine, then I have to conform to appease you. And then I am then in disharmony internally. And let me tell you something about my peace of mind. At what expense? Zero.
That's right.
So my peace of mind, which will be self-projected onto you, needs to be in alignment, and you have to be my audience. And that's when you're your authentic self, and you understand you don't have to be in the forefront. If it's yours, because I said this before, your blessings are like a computer. They sit in your download place, okay? When God sees that you have the capacity for what you're praying for, he hits download. But the problem is, he's the only one that has access to the download button. So you're sitting there saying, press it. He's saying, you ain't ready. Press it. You're not ready. Press it. You're not ready. And then we're mad, right? And then we're mad at God, questioning our religion because our what we believe in. But God is saying, but you're in your own way. But if I gave this to you, you would ruin it. But if I gave you this, if this is not microwave, this is not college where you're eating cup of noodles. You asked for a full course meal. But you can only handle the consumption of a cup of noodles. So checkmate. How about you do the building and I'll do the blessing, and then you can have what you prayed for. So go back to self. Accountability. And nobody will be able to tell you that you're not good enough. Because you say, well, I can show you better than I can tell you. Have you been to a Dr. Bryant event? Have you been to the Dr. Bryant TV and seen me talk? Have you been to a sip and slay? See, and then remember, it's your perception. Start seeing everything as a blessing. Start knowing that it's all working in your favor. Start knowing what they meant for bad, God meant for good. And I'm saying, if you know that, last thing, August 25th is my workshop, y'all. But if you know that, if you know for sure, say your dream car is a Bentley, all of us, we know for sure, we all get a car right now, your Bentley's waiting
on La Cienega and Pico. Waiting, it's paid for. Just come get the keys. We don't need a check. We don't need a thank you. Just come get the keys. It's paid for registration. When you get to driving down there, you know it's there. It's paid for. You ain't worried about it. Can't nobody tell you it's not there. You're going one direction, and it's to go get your dream car. That's how faith should be. You should have so much faith that you got faith in your faith. That you know that what you prayed for is there. All right? You know what you prayed for is there. See, it's one thing to follow your higher being. I don't care if it's Buddha the giraffe, okay? But to follow your higher being. But it's another thing to follow and not execute. Earlier on, I said you have to execute. See, I used to seek God's word. This is on everything. I used to seek His word. I hear it. I go to church. I hear it. And then one day I heard Bishop Jake say, you hear the words, but you ain't living the word. When I start living, when I start remaining in the word, then my power unleashed. Things on my vision board jumped off. The Bentley on the side, not that it's a Bentley, I don't care if it was a Honda Civic. It's the fact that it was on my vision board. It was on my vision board. Everything on my vision board has came to life when I plugged into my source, bigger than me. Because see, all of us are human. We all can do the same thing. So I can assist you and I can give you the wealth I have. But the humility in me will always tell you, at the expense of nothing, you plug into your source. Because I can only be the messenger, but the relationship that He wants with you, nobody in here could ever give you. And let me tell you something, it takes a blessing of a mustard seed from God to blow your mind that a dollar amount could never do for you. And as long as you know that, for 30 days I offer that you do this, and I want you to call me. Don't call me before. On day number 31, call me and tell me the shift in your life. Every day for 30 days, I want you to out loud tell God, I'm lost. I need to feel you and hear you boldly. I'm lost. I need to feel you and hear you boldly. That means He needs to show up and show out. He can't give you little bits and pieces, because where you're at in your life, you need Him to pop up, show up, and you need to say, this is what you need to say, that had to be God. Only that could be God. Only that could be Him. And then call me Dr. Bryant. I plugged in. All I want to hear is this. I'm plugged in. That's all I want to hear. That's all I want to hear. 30 days. 30 days.